sports this morning. A new bill filed this week wants to reform red flag gun laws. And there's more turnover at the state capitol as less congressmen opt out for re-election.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We're just a few minutes past 5:30 on January 26th. Now let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
Good morning, Olivia. Good morning, everyone. It's a mild start to the day. It's a cloudy start to the day as we look outside from our WYMT studios, and the headlines on this Friday morning. Pretty much what you see is what you're going to get today. Yes, a lot of clouds and keeping things mild. Highs pretty much only going up a few degrees, but we're already in the mid and upper 50s. Could be some fog issues tonight. Then there's another shot of rain that comes into play as we head through tomorrow night into Sunday. Temperature-wise, yeah, looky here. Mid and upper 50s, lower 60s. Prestonsburg, Manchester, Harlan, and the pinpoint Doppler radar again showing some very spotty showers as you make your way from near Paintsville, sending just to the northwest of Hazard. And again, this will continue to be the theme as we head through today. Not much regarding rainfall looking back to the west, but again, we'll call it mostly cloudy as we head through the day today. Could be the threat of a shower and a forecast high today in Hazard, getting up close to 59. More about the first alert, 7-day forecast, timing out the rain hour by hour for your Saturday. It's coming up in a few moments. Back to the news desk with Olivia.
Tim, thank you. They say it's finding common ground to address gun violence. A Republican and a Democrat are filing a bill called the CAR Act. And it's similar to red flag laws designed to remove firearms from people having mental health crisis events. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the momentum supporters say the legislation is receiving.
Senator Whitney Westerfield says he believes responsible gun owners and backers of the Second Amendment have nothing to fear with the CAR Act.
We don't want to take away guns from people who are law-abiding citizens. We want to step in temporarily to keep people safe.
Democratic co-sponsor David Yates says he doesn't believe that so-called red flag laws will work, but believes this will.
This isn't a gun-grabbing bill. This is a crisis aversion. This has to do with people who are in a mental health crisis situation who are going to do harm to themselves or others.
Supporters believe this bill has a lot of momentum, and they say there is so much more momentum now than there was just a year ago, but they believe that they do have a long way to go. They believe this bill being filed is a big step. And supporters also believe there is likely more support for this bill than has been publicly stated.
Whitney Austin supports the bill. She was shot 12 times during a mass shooting in Cincinnati in 2018.
So thank you for being here today. Thank you for being courageous. Thank you for being resilient. This is what it's going to take, and we are so much closer than we have ever been.
This is narrow enough, temporary enough, limited enough in scope. I think it easily meets a constitutional test.
CAR Act would set up a judge ordering police to take firearms and to return them when a person's crisis situation has been resolved. Frankfurt, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
It is not clear where the bill will be heard, but Westerfield does chair the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. There appears to be more turnover in the Kentucky General Assembly. The Lexington Herald-Leader reports in the past 4 election cycles, 18 members of the 138-member General Assembly either did not run for re-election or said they would leave. Secretary of State Michael Adams says it is healthy to have new legislators each session. However, he says some who walk the halls of the Capitol are not taking steps to become more familiar with the legislative process.
A lot of criticism of the governor the last 4 years for not working with the legislature. It also makes sense that you want to have the legislature work with the executive branch as well.
There are a few big names in Kentucky politics who are not seeking another term after this current one, including Senate Majority Floor Leader Damon Thayer, who was first elected back in 2002. House Bill 331 passed last session. The bill requires all middle and high school to have automated external defibrillators or AEDs. In Scott County, the district's athletic director worked to provide their schools with even more safety measures. But along the way, he found something that could be slowing down the process, a law that requires a physician to be in charge of their AED program.
The physician never walks into your building. The physician never looks at your AED. And it was just to check off a state law. And that physician, like for our district, for example, was $2,000 to $3,000 a year in costs, which in turn could be invested into an actual AED unit rather than paying for a phantom physician.
Wells says House Bill 22 will free up the availability of AEDs. It passed unanimously out of its committee. Earlier this week and now heads to the full House. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet hosted members of the Harlan County community for a meeting. KYTC updated folks on the progress of the reconstruction of US 421. Reconstruction will focus on 1.5 miles of the highway leading up to the Virginia state line. The project began during the Patton administration, but funds were switched to another project at the end of his term.
The final 3.5 miles to the Virginia line that was not completed in the original project that Governor Paul Patton actually funded when he was governor has been a missing link for us as it relates to our transportation infrastructure.
The project is anticipated to begin in the fall of 2024. In West Virginia, 2 men have been arrested in separate drug investigations. The Wayne County Sheriff says Richard Gilkerson was arrested on warrants following an investigation by the Drug Enforcement Unit. Deputies say he was found with meth. Gilkerson was arrested during a traffic stop by West Virginia State Police. The Drug Enforcement Unit stopped a car in Cerrado and found what they say was a distribution of quantity of meth. Shane Groh of Huntington was arrested and charged with possession of intent to deliver. Both were taken to the Western Regional Jail. And last month, we told you about the city of Pikeville's plans to change the way parking is policed on its downtown streets. The program includes camera sensors to automate ticketing for vehicles that overstay time limits for parking. We now know the date for when that will take effect. Officials with the city say the change is set to kick in on Monday. Community members from Harlan County have gathered for a meeting yesterday evening. The meeting, hosted by KYTC, is about reconstruction on a part of US 421. The meeting did not include a formal presentation, but instead a station for community members to speak to KYTC officials about the goal of the project. A new Kentucky law requires all middle and high school in the state to have an automated external defibrillators or AEDs with an emergency action plan and cardiac response team at each school. The Scott County School District continued the process, looking to purchase more devices for other locations. It was not until then that officials found that a state law requires a physician to be in charge of their AED program. Eastern Kentucky University is launching a feasibility study to determine if the university should start a new program that could add more doctors in Kentucky. If it is established, EKU will be the first public college in the Commonwealth to give out Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine degrees. Currently at the beginning stages of the feasibility study, EKU requested a proposal so a third party can assess the needs of a college of osteopathic medicine.
The cost of medical school is immense. The cost to operate those, we will find out through the feasibility study, are significant. But we are going to be very cost conscious to say, can we be a high quality, low cost provider of medical school opportunity for students who choose that?
Of all universities in Kentucky, EKU says it has the highest percentage of Kentucky residents as students. Big Sandy Healthcare opened its newest facility yesterday, bringing more access to people of Johnson County. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more from the grand opening celebration.
Cutting the ribbon to cut down the barriers to healthcare access.
To serve the people. You know, this place don't belong to nobody, belongs to all the community. And Eula Hall, our founder, we keep carrying on her mission.
Big Sandy Healthcare opened its newest facility in Paintsville Thursday.
Our mission is to improve the lives of our patients by delivering quality care close to home.
Bringing the Johnson County Community Health Center to the people.
Because we don't only focus on the visit with the doctor or the prescription medication, we focus on those barriers to patients receiving quality health care.
Opening the doors to a primary health care clinic with a host of needed services, thanks to the support of United Healthcare's $500,000 investment.
We identified this community in particular of having access to care issues, and I'm thrilled that within our first few years here in the Commonwealth, we were able to help close those gaps.
Healthcare professionals say the area is one of the most in need of a space like the center, which focuses on everything from medical to behavioral health.
My real excitement comes from the work they do with community health workers, which recognizes that 80% of healthcare outcomes happens outside of the clinic walls.
Saying the plan has been in place for several decades, but it took a partnership to give the area the access it deserves.
Without that, this clinic would not have become a reality, and it would still just be a dream.
Providing for those who need hope, help, and healing. In Johnson County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The clinic officially opens its doors to patients Monday, but officials say it was a blessing to have a day to celebrate the milestone in medicine for the area. We are exactly 100 days out from Kentucky Derby 150. The Derby Museum and Louisville Tourism Department are marking the milestone with special artwork. It is the cover of this year's Louisville Visitor Guide. Kentucky artist Jalen Stewart created the image depicting Oliver Lewis, the jockey who won the first Kentucky Derby aboard Aristides back in 1875.